You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
Oh my God, sir!
Woo!
I know we don't have a new drink tonight.
No.
This is a little bit of our legend. But
Legend?
that is okay because I really like this stuff.
It's really good.
I need a good drink tonight.
Yes, salute. We need a
Salud,
drink.
my friend.
Definitely do.
See, that's so good.
Love it.
Stop me from drinking that whole thing tonight. It's short weeks, and I know we bitched about this before, but man, short weeks are killer.
Yes, they are, because you fit 5 days worth of work into 4.
Holy cow!
That's how it works.
This is just proof, though, that there
Yep.
is such thing as a 4-day work week because we make it work. I wonder if we actually could keep this pace
there
ongoing.
has been. I heard. I think it was on another podcast.
Yeah.
There was 60 or some odd. And I'm just kind of.
Yeah.
But 60 companies that tried.
Yes.
The 4-day work week. 52 of them were as successful, or maybe even more successful, going to a 4-day work week.
Wow.
So there is validity in this.
doing
It
this,
is
right?
possible, I think.
Well, and again, I think there is 2 ways to do this, right? Some companies will just do the shortened week, 32 hours. That's it.
Yep.
Some will work extra hours each day and put in the full 40.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are efficient here. I think there's possibility to this. I was having this conversation with somebody today.
Yeah. It's funny because I noticed on one of our, we have our meetings with Ciros.
Yep.
On our contact there, her at the bottom of her email, it says Ciros is closed on Friday afternoons. So they just kind of, I assume, get all their work done and then take the afternoon.
Which
on a
we've done
Friday.
that as well
We
in the
have done that.
summertime.
Yes, which
That's
is
pretty cool too.
Which is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, that works
So,
too.
yeah.
We should try that again. Oh, but I would miss everybody on a Friday. But at the same
That's
time,
the thing is,
I know, right? Like, sure, we could put in an extra hour Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and leave Friday at like noon, 1 o'clock. But
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
No.
I'll sit here. I'll still do some shit. It's nice and quiet. I'm like, wow, I can get so much done. There you go. I'll still put in another full 4, 6
yeah,
hours.
you will. You know you will.
Man,
You'll be
I
back on
suck.
Saturday.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I don't know whether that worked, but some companies have tried it and it's
And it
actually
works,
been
eh?
pretty successful.
All right.
Yeah.
Good on them. I noticed, and I don't know how I've missed this, but Stella Artois,
Oh,
the beer,
fancy.
updated their logo.
Yes.
And it's they kind of snuck it in under the radar, but it was one of those really nice updates because they simplified, but they didn't oversimplify. Like they didn't go down the simplification of bullshit like we've been seeing. Like they haven't blanded their brand. Okay. And they cleaned it up. They added white space around some of the elements so it would reproduce better. But it was like brilliant in my opinion.
Getting rid of that heavy black outline, that shadow.
Yes.
I mean, God, does anybody use shadows anymore?
I know, right?
In the logo especially. But yeah, it cleaned it up. It made it look absolutely beautiful, I think.
And this is the thing. The reason why I didn't notice is because it's so similar but cleaned up to the other one that it just kind of snuck by me. But when you compare them, right, you see that they updated the script font with a sans serif font underneath, right?
Yes.
They, like you said, the white space, but now with that extra white space, it reproduces so well on cans, on bottles, on labels, and it has a little bit more of a youthful feel to it.
Yes.
Because that brand, I mean, half the reason why I didn't like it is because it looked like an old drink that my dad had in the 70s. Where now it was just like, it was a little bit, so it's kind of cool how they just snuck that one through.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that they started over from scratch, but they did just enough that, it helped the brand, didn't hurt it, right? And it took it to the next level.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was really good too, and the extra stuff that they've done with it, like all the like Alan Peters does with all the executions that you can do with that, looked really good too. Like it was very kind of rooted in their past, but also kind of looking forward to the future. Which exactly I think is what they've achieved with that logo.
Absolutely.
Because it looks like Stella. It's not that far from what it used to be, but it just looks clean.
They did, exactly.
Yeah, it looks
I
nice.
highly recommend everybody check
Have a
this
look
out
at
when
it.
you get a chance. Like, actually compare the old to the new. And again, I think it's now there were some people that didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how somebody can't.
I don't get that either. Yeah.
It embraces enough of the old, but it evolves it just enough that it will reproduce better. It's with the times, like shit, dude. Like, and I don't think that they still paid homage to their old brand.
Yes,
She's like 500 plus years old.
Yes.
Holy shit.
It's what 1366
How is that
impossible?
possible?
And it had that bugle or the horn or the
bugle.
cornucopia.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, I don't know what it
yeah.
is, but it's just like that's kind of one of those things where you're like, I don't know where that came from, but it's fucking old.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
right,
gotta stay there, right?
So what's interesting is, that would be a fucking stellar project to get, but people don't always go for that, right?
I was gonna say, I don't like people not liking me. and
Nobody can not like Sean.
No, it's true. Under construction, some of the comments that I read, these people do with these logos, it's just like, oh,
I know,
I'd be crying
right?
in the corner, sucking my thumb, But yeah, but it's fun. Like something like Stella would be an amazing kind of brand to refresh.
But everybody always thinks about new logos. Right?
Yes.
Because so this week, we were fortunate. We got a new logo project this week, right? A new brand project, and we're very fortunate because we have a lot of that. But I remember going back, a big part of our business wasn't necessarily looking for brand new logo projects, right?
No.
But it was looking at old projects, old logos, old brands, and figuring out like how to update them. Right. Those were the people that we went after more so than a brand new logo project. Brand new logo projects are fun.
Yep.
But I mean, they're often like people who are, starting their company. They have limited budget, right? They're usually picky, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
When you actually go out and start hunting for existing companies who've got brands that are lacking or falling behind, like, dude, it was so much easier to pick for this, right? I mean, back then, of course, we would pick up magazines, we would pick up local papers, you just drive around and you'd be like, wow, dude, these guys need help. These guys need help, right?
Exactly.
I love doing that,
That
right?
is awesome.
That whole freestyling thing, right? But it's funny because nobody thinks about that, right? Everybody always thinks new logo project, new logo. So, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Is just kind of like in the past, while we always love getting startups, we always love new companies, new altogether, opportunities.
Yep.
I think, for every one brand new logo company brand that we got to create, we would do 5, existing company rebrands, right? Rebrand. And so what we're going to talk about today is I guess, how we went about this.
Yes.
Okay. zfactor's experience in this.
Yep.
We have what we refer to as 3 degrees of logo change, okay, which we're going to share today. And that's zfactor way, right?
Yep.
How they helped us pitch customers, some examples of those. And then, okay, how we actually would go to our customers and, pitch them why they need a new logo.
Right.
Okay. So these are the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Don't work for everybody. This will work for us though.
Yes.
Okay. And I think, we'll break it down so easy that it's like, how could it not work for anybody?
This is clearly laid out, and yes, this
I think so,
definitely
right?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Try this.
I'd like to think
try
so.
This at home.
Try this, people.
Try this at home. This is one thing you can try at home.
So, I mean, okay, so let's get back to the topic here, okay? So, I mean, it's pretty easy to pick out logos, on the one end, right? When you're just like you don't know anything about a company, like bad logo, bad company, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like some of the most obvious reasons, right? Like easy telltale signs that your customer needs a new logo. And let's just assume these are your customers already, okay? They don't have to be yours.
Yep.
You can go pitch them if you're savvy enough to go knock on doors or meet at a networking opportunity, and that's okay. I love that. But that's not for everybody. But let's say they're your existing customers. You're doing brochures, you're doing this, you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
Easy telltale signs that your customer needs a new logo, okay? Things like, obviously, if their logo has an outdated design.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
If the designer pre you, use trendy fonts, use trendy techniques. The logo looks like it was from the 1980s or 90s, right?
Yep.
Like, it's just that the design itself is outdated. And, don't think that this is only small companies. In fact, I think it's actually the bigger companies that suffer from this more often.
I would agree with you. And especially companies like our primary customer.
Right.
They have grown exponentially.
Yep.
And totally outgrew what their old look was.
Exactly, right? Old logo, old colors.
Yes.
And they ran with that. And you know what? They were still, at that point, they were like still a $500 million company.
Yeah.
But they were having this logo that looked like it was 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Very much
shocking,
so.
right?
Very
so,
much so.
so those are like really easy to pick from, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
again,
Yep.
and in that case, the logo might not be, because of that, it's not aligned with the company's new vision,
Yes.
their new brand, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the company heads in a new direction, and that logo is a legacy logo that hasn't really evolved the same as the company has, right?
Yes.
So these are easy signs. Obviously, poor versatility. Right, the old logo doesn't work. Whether it's the colors don't work digitally, or maybe the format. Some customers who we still have are like, nope, has to be a wide logo. You can't change it. Well, guess what? White doesn't work in most digital ways, right? Or tall doesn't work.
Exactly.
So the versatility isn't there. Sometimes their logo doesn't stand out in their CV competitors.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, well, how do you tell you apart from anybody else?
Yeah.
Right. Or sometimes the logo is lacking anything it's just a word mark, or it's just, like there's nothing there to separate them, or make them memorable compared to their competition.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
On the complete opposite from before, it's too complex.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like you're seeing on the side of a van, it's like somebody's parked in somebody's house and you don't understand what are they a telecom company?
What
are
they saying?
Are they internet? No, they installed decks for the backyard. It's like, what? Like it's so fucking future decks made out of plastic? No. With traditional wood decks.
Yeah.
Just saw that yesterday.
For real?
I was like, what are they getting installed? Like some sort of new gigabit service? No, they're getting a deck.
It's a deck.
What? It wasn't even a very good one, to be honest.
Oh,
Right?
God, that's funny.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
It does. It does. Or another one, I think the last telltale sign for us anyway, of course, is often we would pick customers that had products bigger than the local area, but their brand made them look local.
Yes.
Okay. So we were like, look, like shit, we built our whole company. Our whole thing was, be more, what is it? Look more global.
Yeah.
Right.
Look more
And that's
global.
it. Right.
Yeah.
If their logo looks like they're a localized company, but they service a global market, well, it's time to enhance that.
Yeah.
look.
Exactly. Move on with that. Yeah.
So these are the most obvious. I think everybody can kind of agree with these. I'm sure there's other reasons, other ways to tell, but these are the kind of the things that we would look out for, right?
Yep.
And of course, and I think one of the biggest ones that always, kind of landed us a lot of work was when they had inconsistent logos everywhere, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
it's like they had one logo on this presentation, their website had a slightly different logo, their, app had a completely different logo. It's like everybody seemed to take liberties on the logo, which is so horrible.
Yeah, you can't do that
Jeez.
stuff.
Yeah. So that was some easy telltale signs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we did then is in looking all this, right? We kind of came up with this whole 3 degrees of a logo change. Okay. Because again, just going to somebody and saying, you need a logo change, often it's off-putting for people.
Totally.
Okay.
It's their logo. That they've been accustomed to that. They're used to that. Maybe they don't think it's as bad as it is.
Exactly, right? That's exactly it. Well, and often they're connected to it.
Yes, exactly.
So
It's
that's
their baby.
That's a challenge.
Yeah,
right.
totally.
So what we would do is we'd break them down first into categories, right, and then we would pitch towards the strengths and the weaknesses towards those categories, right, because it makes it a lot easier for them to digest.
Yes.
And I'll tell you exactly how we do it at the end. But for now, we have 3 degrees of a logo change, and I think this is across the board.
Yeah.
We've got a logo refresh, a logo evolution, and a logo redesign.
Yes.
Okay. 3 different degrees. So number 1, logo refresh. Think of this just basically as like a light makeover. Okay. Just something light, the core design stays the same. But again, what we're doing is with this refresh is we're just making these small changes,
Right.
kind of like what we saw today with the Stella logo, right?
Yes.
Small changes
Right.
that, might include updating the font,
Yep.
tweaking, the color palette, simplifying certain graphic elements, right? So then this way the logo is still current and relevant, okay? But it doesn't alter the overall brand or the appearance.
Right.
If done properly, it's like it almost slides right underneath the radar
Exactly. You
without
have
people
to-
knowing.
You almost almost have to look twice to see, hey, wait, that's different.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that would always be the first degree.
Right.
Okay. Second degree, which we talk about often, is logo evolution. And from my experience, this is the most common for brands, big brands, who actually know what the fuck they're doing. Okay. And let me stress that for brands who know the fuck what they're doing. Okay. So this is a substantial shift to their existing logo, but it's not a complete redesign. Right. Okay. And what I mean by this is that the new logo retains some important elements that people associate with the brand, and associate with the old logo and the original design. Okay. But it's not a complete overhaul to scare people away and confuse them as to what the hell's going on. Right. It's more about conveying the brand's evolution, their growth. Hey, we're taking it to a new place, not just, we're here and we're current and we're going to, this is actually when companies are trying to make an effort to propel themselves. Right. So this is what I see most in the marketplace with the big brands. Okay. Right. And again, there's good reason because they spend so much time and energy in the past brand, and what they've developed. You don't want to shock people to the point where you lose all that. You need some of that, brand recognition moving forward. Right.
Yeah.
Again, you can't move forward if you don't have a past, right? Otherwise you're just like standing still moving forward. That ain't going to happen. Right.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Bad analogy there, but that's okay.
No, that was actually good. Running to stand still. That's a U2 song. What your favorite band?
You got me excited, but
not with my favorite band part.
Not a YouTube fan.
Not a YouTube fan. No, he is not.
And last but not least, we've got logo redesign. Okay,
so this Magilla.
A fucking complete
strip
overhaul,
it down,
right? And again, this is obviously the most shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Companies do this. There's little to no resemblance to the old logo at all. Right. And this occurs when maybe the logo doesn't align with the company's value, their products. Maybe there's a scandal they don't want anything to be known for. Right. Or maybe it's just like they have a completely new market, new direction, new product, and they're kind of out with the old, in with the new.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Pivot almost.
Those very rarely go well.
Yeah.
But we have some examples, and it's just like, why? Why do they do that? Because it's just it's such a monumentous feat. To basically start over again. And that's all they're doing. It's like, when Pepsi did that with their brand the first time, they changed it so drastically. It's like starting from scratch. And even though they paid $1 million for that weird crooked smile logo, it was over $1 billion in the implementation, right? Because they were just starting it was just completely from over. So, in that case, it's, it happens. It's not as common. I do find the most common one is the evolution.
The evolution. We've seen that a lot too. And it's quite successful. Well, actually, yes, I think it's the most successful one, right? Because it is like you said, it's just tweaks to. It's like Stella was a great example. That
was the light one though. That's just like a refresh.
Oh, that's a refresh,
right? That is because think about it. Nothing changed with the Stella logo.
Oh,
they just changed.
Right. It's not really an evolution, is it?
It's not, right?
Okay.
They've evolved. They changed their logo. They refreshed it to fit the times, right? They tweaked the font, the color palette. They simplified some of the elements, right? And they did it to keep the font relevant. Okay. But also it now makes it more easier for digital, easier for reproduction, right? A little bit more current for the times, but it's still the exact same logo. That's why I kind of think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, it's very, and that's a tricky way to do things. But
I think it's really hard. Often, somebody like Google would do something like just change their font. And it's just like, well, that's a refresh. Because you went from that old serif font to then remember the sans serif, and everything else is the same. The proportions, the colors. It's like, okay, good job, Google.
Smart.
But I get why they did that. But again, same thing. Just a refresh, right? Where I think that the evolution is kind of, I think that's where most of the, and we'll go from examples from this, but
I can think of some.
Yeah, for sure. There's some really good ones out there, but okay. So by breaking down these three things, breaking them down to these 3 degrees, it helped us pitch our customers, in a couple different ways. Okay. It allowed us to frame the conversation better than if we were just pulling something out of our ass, right? These providing clear categories for change helps make these discussions a little bit more specific, right? A little bit more productive, right? We're educating them a little bit so they don't feel that they're being attacked. impact. It's just like, look,
That's it.
there's different
That's
degrees
the key.
here,
Yeah,
right?
You got to be subtle about this kind of stuff. Can't hit them over the hammer and say, this needs to change.
Right? Because that's the fastest way to have a customer reject
That's
what it is that you're
exactly
talking
it.
about,
Exactly.
right? So you can explain to them the difference and kind of, maybe kind of ease them into this new kind of way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
Scale of impact, right? By breaking these down into these 3 degrees and explaining them to the customer, they kind of have an idea of what they're actually in for, right? The impact the logo change will have on the brand, on customer recognition, on marketing, right? And then, like we have to explain this to customers so they know what they're in for
Yes.
in the short and in the long term, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes they might be like, holy shit, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
We've got way too much shit out there. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
You don't have to go that far. Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, somebody hears new logo, the first thing they're going to think, they go right away to overhaul.
Yeah.
Right. And nobody understands that there is a refresh and there's an evolution, right? There's right away new logo.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh,
I
geez.
just fucking printed all this shit. And they get really kind of, so again,
Yeah.
it's like you can back them up and ease their apprehensions towards this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It helps them understand time and cost associated with something like this, right? Different degrees will have different timelines, will require different resources, different partners to get shit done, right? This does help also, give them an idea of the expectations of cost or how long it's going to take to
long
implement
it's
something
yeah,
like this,
yeah.
right? And then again, ultimately, cost in the end, right? So again, it just helps them be more prepared,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Obviously the big one is easing them into, the resistance of change.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
because again, it's they're going to go straight from 0 to 100, and they're
Yeah.
like, I'm not ready to overdo
Yeah.
my company, right? We're not, but it's like you don't have to make you don't have to. You can help them realize they don't have to go from 0 to 100.
Exactly.
They can go from 0 to 25,
Yeah.
0 to
Yeah.
50,
And
right?
just ease into it. Yeah.
Exactly, right? This way, kind of, again, it goes back to it reduces their apprehension of changing the logo,
Yep.
right? And then it helps also provide a roadmap to change.
Right.
And that's key, right? Because again, helping them through the process, including them in this process.
Seeing the steps along the way. Yeah.
Exactly, right? This makes them more comfortable with what you're presenting or, what you could be getting or what they could be getting into.
Right.
So again, we would always frame the conversation, as you have options
Yep.
and it's not a 0 to 100,
Yep.
but let's talk about the
Yes,
options.
at least put it on the table and make and create a dialogue over this. kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have
right?
to. Yes,
Because it's not like every one of these is right for every customer.
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
There
Again,
is-
yeah.
there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people just need something small. Some people might need a cleanup, might need a tweak, some might need an overhaul, but they're just not prepared or understand why or the reasonings for it, right?
Yeah.
So, and in all fairness, to understand which one they need, right?
Yeah.
And, they may not even realize it themselves, but you have to understand their business. You have to understand their brand intimately. And again, your customer,
Yep.
right? You need to understand their clients,
Yeah.
right? Their clients,
Yes.
right? And their business. So you need to understand so much more than just the logo
Yeah.
and the state that it's currently in, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to understand when to pitch which one and why, right?
Yeah.
So for example, the refresh,
Yes.
Stella, right?
Yeah.
Perfect example, right? The brand is strong.
Yep.
Okay. The recognition is strong.
Huge.
The following is strong.
Yeah.
But the logo looks outdated.
Yes.
Okay. Or it doesn't align with the trends, right?
Yeah.
Feedback from customers, right? Doesn't line up with the logo. And maybe even they're looking into like logo changes, or even their employees are like, oh, I really
Yeah.
wish I could see it, or
Yeah.
see changes and such.
Well, I'm thinking now. I don't know about, but I'm seeing probably somebody is noticing that. Hey, you know what? Young people aren't drinking our beer anymore. How can we engage another? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's a bit of the
Absolutely.
marketing angle on that.
And in this case,
as
they
well.
needed it,
Yes,
right?
totally,
Because
yeah.
again, it wasn't replicating itself properly in the different mediums,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So again, this is where something as simple as a refresh can make a difference.
Can
And
totally
for
do
Stella,
that. Yeah.
it totally has.
I'll bet that's going to be huge for them.
And the nice thing about this is with this little hiccup or with this little change of logo or the refresh like they have,
Yeah.
man, even if they have like, 2,000-3,000 cases or 100,000 cases of beer still waiting to be shipped with the old label, it's not critical because the new logo,
Yeah.
still resembles the old one to the point where most people won't even recognize.
Won't even notice.
And that's when you hit gold.
Yeah,
right?
that's perfect.
Absolutely. So again, this is just like, when, your target audience or your target market, you have that, where you're going, but your logo just needs tweaks to get there, right?
Yep.
So that's small refinements.
Refinements.
So that's when a logo refresh is ideal. Still a lot of work. You
It
still got
is
to build
huge.
out all this brand new literature and all this awesome material. But again, that's when it's ideal to use that. A logo evolution, a little bit bigger, okay? A little bit more in depth, right? This is when the company's undergone substantial changes, substantial growth, right? Change where the current logo doesn't necessarily fit where the company is anymore. Okay.
Right.
And this is where we saw with our customer, right? They were holding on to an old logo, for legacy reasons, maybe it was more sentimental, but the company has completely gone and shifted from their products. They're offering more services. They were also adding software to the mix. So they completely evolved. But the logo wasn't reflecting that. Okay. So that's a big part, right? The market perception of the company changes significantly, right? And now the market thinks the company's a lot different than what their logo looks like, right? What their brand is looking.
Totally.
So, the market's evolved, right? Hence, the logo needs to evolve with it, right?
Exactly.
Or possibly even the logo's confusing now because of all these changes. Right? It's like, dude, your logo looks like you're doing something else, not where you're going now and, into the future. So these are different ways to kind of, when a logo evolution is kind of ideal, right? And this is the most common one, right? Right. So again, there's probably a giant list, even more than this, right?
Oh my God.
These are some of the reasons how we got in there, right?
Yes.
And then with the redesign, of course, that's when the company has got a completely radical shift in how they're operating. Maybe their product, right? We had a local software company here, right? Dalmic Labs. Right. And again, then they went quiet for a bit. They came back, changed the company name.
Completely.
And you know what? They changed the product and they introduced a whole new product. And 6 months later, they tanked.
They're gone.
Gone. Now I don't even know. I think they got bought, but maybe it's more like a bot to shut them up.
Just to shut them,
right?
just to stop
But again,
them.
it's like, when there's such a big change to the company or they're completely changing, entering into new markets, they're targeting a completely different audience, right? Basically, it's like there's a big fundamental change to the company that now their logo doesn't even fucking matter. Their old brand has absolutely nothing to do with where the new company is going. You know? Or we talked about, there's some negative public perception about the company,
that could
right?
very well be too.
This happens. A lot of companies, instead of dealing with a PR nightmare, they wait to go silent, they rebrand something completely. Sometimes they even change the company name, and then they kind of move forward again, right? So that's a huge thing. But I mean, ultimately, the new logo or the old logo isn't working anymore, regardless what their reason is, and because it's not resonating with the right audience and the right market or the product itself, it doesn't represent the product. It's an overhaul time, right? And sometimes that is also that causes people to question, So it causes just as much shit as it does good. It's like, why? Why did they do this? Why that? Here locally they didn't go through that, because everybody was like, rah, 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 you guys are the best, right? But the reality is, it didn't take long before everybody just ate their words. Sorry, guys. I'm a little bitter about this kind of stuff because so many people and companies get screwed or shafted by this kind of stuff.
But this is the thing is, and in Canada, and I'm sure in the US too, but or other countries, it's just they get a shit ton of money. They got all this runway. And 6 months later,
right? Because they're not being fiscally responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And you're just like, what are you even doing?
Literally, ultimately though, I guess for us going into this, regardless how we feel about this shit, about these companies, this is another episode altogether, and it's a nasty rant. So don't get me started.
We'll really live up to our name, the Angry Designers.
But I mean, ultimately, when we do this, we can't just go in with personal preference, and that's the key, right? We can't be like, I think or I feel, right? And we can't ever approach this based on trends, design trends, what's hot this year and what's not, right? We got to go in with, the right market research. We got to know their competitors. We got to know their product, their markets. We have to go in with data. Okay. And it doesn't have to be actual analytics data, but it has to be legitimate reasons. Nothing to do with our feelings or nothing to do with design trends.
Beautiful.
So, examples of each one of these.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, logo refresh sometimes is nothing more than simplifying what there currently is. Yeah. Okay. And then just cleaning it up so it translates better in different environments.
Right.
Okay. So, BMW logo.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
that's-
Again, I love the BMW brand. Of course, I'm going to start with the BMW logo. But I mean, if you see the old,
It's sexy.
the old one is sexy.
I really like that.
The new or the old?
I like the old one, but I could see
why
they
the new
changed.
one works.
Because this over here on the left is not going to be web friendly.
Exactly.
Right?
This
This
and it's
on
got
the right
that little
is.
bit that skeuomorphism. It
Yeah.
looks like a badge, right?
Yes, and I like that. It's
and
real. It looks like
it's cool.
Yeah.
The new one, completely simplified.
Totally.
Right? They
Totally.
got rid of all that 3D. They got rid of the elements,
Yep.
right? And but again, it's still there's no
It's
question.
exactly
Exactly
yeah,
the same
I would never
company,
know
right?
the difference.
You walking by a
Yeah.
BMW, you wouldn't know if it's an old
Nope.
logo or the new logo.
Nope.
So that's why that one did good.
That's beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
The Google logo is a good example, right? Of
yeah.
just a refresh.
Yep.
Okay. Because it went from that kind of funny looking serifed, slight serifed, almost like a Garamond type font,
Yep,
slightly
yeah.
tweaked. And they just simplified it to a sans serif.
Yeah.
Like if you look, they kept the E on a slight little cock.
Yeah.
Right? On a
Yeah.
little bit like 20,
Yeah,
30
little
degree
angle.
angle.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
I'd like to say they did the same with the zero, but you can't tell in the new one because the zeros are perfectly circled, right? But again, the colors are the same, and looking at it, you went from one day to the next, you
Yeah.
wouldn't even notice
Nope.
that they actually changed.
It's such a
anything.
gradual change that
Absolutely.
you'd never notice.
Again, the
Here we
Stella
go.
example.
Yeah, see that already.
Beautiful
is-
example, I think.
From this distance, man, that just like
It's an enhancement, and all it
Totally.
is a refresh. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Just
you're right.
something
Yeah.
small, a little light touches, but it like how much better it looks. You don't have to constantly overhaul everything.
Yep.
Sometimes it just takes tweaks, right?
Yep.
So those are examples of logo logo refreshes.
Refreshes,
Okay.
right.
Examples of logo evolutions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aha.
Best Buy.
Okay.
Okay. So now Best Buy, when they wanted to switch from old logo to new, the old logo was Best Buy in that yellow
Yeah,
tag,
in the
right?
tag, right.
Kind of cheesy, kind of 90s-y looking,
Very 90s,
right?
yeah.
The new Best Buy logo, right, still has a big bold font and it still retains that little yellow price tag.
Yep.
But now it uses it as a little it's like the actual name has got a little tag on it, right?
Yeah.
So unquestionably, it's the same company.
Yep.
They've just evolved into something better, the
Yeah.
next level.
Yeah.
Okay. MasterCard, one of my
beautiful.
favorite logo evolutions
Yep.
ever.
Yeah.
Right? Their old logo, I hated it. I never liked it. It was always really ugly, and it was probably one of the reasons why I never signed up for the card.
Really?
Because it was such an ugly logo, the old one with that
I don't
drop
think that's-
shadow.
Well, the drop shadow
Right.
and the italics.
Maybe in the
italicized font.
70s it was okay,
Yeah,
right?
I like the circles though.
when,
I like
when
the
they
lines.
introduced the circles with that like
With
modern
their
day
together,
colors.
that's beautiful. Yeah.
And again, when I saw that, I was like, MasterCard.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yep. You know exactly
You
what it
know
is.
the company, and you see the orange in the middle is what they were trying to do over here, but they kind of failed.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that's to me that's a nod to the mid-century kind of.
To the swipe, I think the logo
Logos.
came from the mid-century.
Did it? Oh, okay.
Probably.
I think that's what it was.
I think it was an older
the,
logo.
The geometric shade
Nice.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
like just a little bit of action in there.
But when they evolved,
Yeah.
right, to something a little bit more, like web friendly,
Yeah.
but then also they got more technology friendly. I mean, I think that's a really good middle ground.
Absolutely. Like you said, like as soon as you see that, you know exactly what that is.
Absolutely.
And that is as simple as you can make that, right?
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. You're piggybacking on your old brand, but you've evolutioned out to
Taking it to the next level.
To the next
right?
level. Exactly.
So Castrol, interestingly
Nice.
enough, recently, right?
That's
Castrol is
cool.
an oil brand.
Yeah.
Right? Known everywhere. NASCAR. Like anywhere where there's cars is Castrol. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the old one had a little bit of that, they had a little bit of shadowing, right? That little, I don't know what you want to call it. It had that little, the checkered effect that was
Yeah.
kind of disappearing. And you know
Yeah.
what? Try to replicate that digitally. It would fail.
Yeah.
Put that as a, favicon or
Yep.
even on a social
It's
media.
gone.
It'd be gone.
Yeah.
It would look like ass. So the new one, a lot of people didn't care for it too much because they got rid of like the, the bounding box and such.
Yeah.
But to me, it completely, embraces everything the old one did. The colors were bang on.
Yeah. Yep.
Still slightly italic, very
Yep.
so slightly, but that new logo, the new evolution of the logo kind of embraces what the old one was trying to do, I
I
think.
kind of like that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that was a good example.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a really popular one that happened just a couple months ago, the U.S. Army.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, again,
Yeah.
shocking that number one, the U.S. Army even has a logo. I mean, good on you guys. Way to promote that. But shit, like the old logo, you could tell that the proportions were off.
Yeah.
Right? The bounding boxes were too much. There's a lot of lines. And you can see if you tried to put that online somewhere and start shrinking it down or scaling it,
It's not gonna work.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
The star might stay intact, but that font's going to completely disappear.
gonna be gone, yeah.
So they completely switched it around. They cleaned it up. And I mean, unquestionably, you know where it came from.
Yep.
All they had to do was take that star, emphasize it. The color's the same. It is the same logo, just evolved.
Yep.
So good on them as
Yeah,
well. So
that's-
just some
that's
easy
great.
examples, I think, of evolution. But the more time, if you go searching online, you'll find that so many, and I would probably say 2/3 of all the logos I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say 2/3 are probably evolutions. Then maybe like 90% of a third.
Yeah.
Would be the refresh.
The refresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course we'll head on
And then
into
to
the
the big boys.
redesigns.
Yeah, the
okay?
total rehauls. Yeah.
So Animal Planet was a
Yeah.
big one.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that was a successful redesign. I
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I do love it. But again, it is so shockingly different than the old.
Huge.
Right. And I know that there was some serious backlash with this one. I think they did a great job personally. But again, only because I never really followed the brand that much.
No.
So when I saw the new one, I was like, yeah, that resonates more with me than the old one did.
Big time.
Right?
Yes.
Big change in company though, right? They've changed so much from just the simple TV brand that they were to something much bigger, much more integrated, which I think is why the new look came into play.
Yeah, and also I think that one on the left, the old one, is very dated looking. Like it's you know what I mean. Like all the fonts are different sizes,
Right, different sizes and such.
And yet planet's the same.
Yeah, you're right. Eh?
But that one on the right is just like somebody
Very fresh,
Somebody
right?
loved up that one big time.
That's
'cause
a good point. That's a good point.
That's amazing.
One of my favorite logo redesigns,
here we go.
complete, is the Kia logo.
Yes.
Right? Or what is it? The
KV.
KV brand.
What KV car is
the
that?
KV car. No, so the old Kia logo
Yes.
didn't represent the brand at all. The company has evolved so much, right?
Yeah.
Like over the past 25 years, that brand evolved from a budget-friendly vehicle to now like one of the most advanced cars on the road, good value for the price, the quality, and it's now competes with a lot of the brands out there that it was, so far behind.
Yep.
And their logo did not stand up to it.
Yes.
So this new logo that they created, this new, with their whole fluid motion and it looked like brushes, I get that some people can't understand it or read it, but it's a complete redesign.
Yep.
My opinion, for the better.
Oh,
in this
totally,
case, right?
110%.
Yeah, I think so. But there
God.
is some backlash because people, they're claiming they can't read it.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't understand.
I don't understand how they can't.
It is a bit of a departure from what they have,
Huge.
for sure.
Yeah.
So I could see that. There's not a lot of bridge like Stella has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
But here's my question to you.
yeah.
Does the Toyota logo actually read anything?
No.
No.
No, but
exactly. Does the Mazda logo read
No.
anything? None of them fucking do.
Honda.
No.
And see, this is why I give Kia credit, because they could have easily done that. They could have taken a circle, put a K in there, in a scripty, and
Right.
boom, you're done.
But they
like every other
gave
fucking car
a little
maker.
bit of personality.
Yeah, but
on
they
this one.
put in some effort into that.
Love that.
And it's got like the old Via kind of style, you know what I mean? With that angular. I love it. I
do
just
love
think
that
it's,
one. I do
it's
love that
really,
one.
really nice.
And then we've got, I don't know if anybody can remember, but the MailChimp.
This one is, wow, I had no idea.
Right? So
Like, holy
originally,
cow.
MailChimp was just a script font. MailChimp. Right? The big
terrible.
redesign for them was when they changed it from this little script to something fun.
Yeah.
Almost jungle-like.
Yeah.
Tiki-like.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yes.
And then they added an icon, a
Yeah,
character
they
to
put
this,
it,
right?
yes, which I love. in a
Nobody does
logo.
mascots.
Nobody
People
does
should.
this stuff.
But I mean, how great is this? Before, the mascot did exist, but it was like one of those campaign supplementary type little, icons that they would use. Now
Right.
it became part of the
He's
logo.
part of the logo,
And
yeah.
why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The company's called MailChimp.
MailChimp. It makes sense. And he's got a little hat like a mailman. That's brilliant.
Oh, fuck, I love that guy, right? But you know, if they just launched this now, they'd have all this backlash because people were saying, they'd probably say that it's cruelty to animals, you know, offensive to the monkey community. You're putting a hat on the fucking monkey.
Yeah. What is this, the 50s?
Yeah, I can just see the kind of backlash MailChimp would have if they actually put this logo out here. And people have to remind them, no, we actually mean a real monkey, not a real phallic monkey, okay? I can just imagine.
Well, good on them. So that is an evolution. No. That's a
redesign.
That's complete redesign.
Absolutely,
yes.
right?
Okay, for sure.
And then there is an evolution that there is one more redesign, unfortunately, that I still don't understand. And this is the Facebook to Meta thing.
Yeah.
Like that again is probably the pinnacle of, you know, logo redesigns and possible failures. I mean, again, everybody still calls the company Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, reluctantly, I don't think anybody keeps calling it Meta.
Right.
Right. And I know that they wanted to go into this whole new world or whatever, this whole metaverse and everything.
Is that what it is? Or was it to escape the shitty kind of...
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah, maybe both.
They escaped one shit only to fail at this other one. So, I mean, I'm not sure that they're having the best luck right now. But I mean, that is such a departure from the old.
Yes.
And still wrong on so many levels.
And wrong. Yeah,
underwhelming logo.
Didn't work.
That everybody's seen like 30, 40, 50 times. There's nothing to
God.
it. The name is changed. Like, they're running, but God knows, like there's nothing. That's a redesign. I think that's like a re-failure.
That's a re-failure.
Big time.
Way to fail, Facebook,
so
Meta.
Because we're talking about this, though, there is a whole other category that I'm still trying to figure out where it would fit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So we have these brands that, you know, create a logo. Then they create a second logo, and they're like, oh, that sucks. And then they create a brand new logo that is resembling an old version. Okay, like for example, the Pepsi logo.
Here we go.
Okay, the new Pepsi logo resembles their old Pepsi logo. Okay, the one from 40 years ago. So I don't understand. I don't know what to call this. I don't know if this whole thing is an evolution or if it's a redesign with a nod to the history.
A devolution.
Right.
I don't know. There's,
but I mean, we've got Pepsi, which that was a huge brand that changed up this year, right? And again, they went with something old.
Yep.
Okay, they went back, not like just 2, 3, like
way
back,
yes.
right?
50s style.
Burger King, same thing. Okay, so
we
had that horrible, you know, 80s, 90s logo with, you know, blue, because blue and burgers and blue and food.
I'm hungry.
Just so tasty. But again, so they introduced this whole new burger logo, which looked like the 60s, 70s logo.
The old one,
right?
yes.
So again, what is that? I mean, again, devolution?
Devolution, yeah, I guess. So yeah, it's because it's like, but the irony is it worked. Both of those logos work so much better now.
Which ones? Do you mean the older ones?
Pepsi and Burger King.
I agree.
Do you know 100%.
What I mean?
Like those
both of the new retro logos look better than the outgoing.
Right.
So it's like the evolution that they had were like failures.
Yeah.
If anything, right?
I guess that's how it. Well, we can hold on. We can agree that the old Burger King logo sucks.
The outgoing one.
The outgoing one with the blue circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's really terrible.
It was even though it may have been, you know, good for the times, it was always a bad logo.
It was a bad logo.
You know, and their explanation about, you know, Burger King's global, which is why the blue is around the world.
Okay.
Dude, it's like, no, nothing about that. Like it doesn't even resemble a burger really because of that blue swoosh.
Yeah, you can hardly see the buns.
If they would have got rid of that blue swoosh, fine. Then it would have been a little bit more with the times.
Yes, it might have been all right.
That
blue thing,
you're right.
Though,
man, really messed up the brand.
Yes.
So I think I agree. I think the logo devolution
actually worked because of those classic logos back in the old days,
right?
Worked really well.
But okay, Peugeot's another brand.
Oh,
right? They launched. Look, and I didn't know how far back, but I mean the new Peugeot logo is an update not of the outgoing one, but of the 1960 logo. And again, beautiful to that. Like that's a nice nod to that.
That's really nice.
So again, you know, and then last but not least, believe it or not, fucking Rolling Stones magazine, okay? Rolling Stones for like 30 years had a word mark.
Yep.
Okay. Then
Very
in 2019 to 22, they tried to bland themselves. Is what they did. Look, they blanded themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the backlash or if they were just like, wow, you know what? This is not us
working. Yeah.
And they brought back their new current logo is so much more of what the old logo was.
It's bigger and heavier.
Heavier. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a better version of their 81 to 2. So if they would have just dropped this 2019-22, that would have been a great logo evolution. But this kind of really was a logo evolution. They had to realize what they didn't want before they went with what they wanted.
And fortunately for them, I mean, it's not 100% off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It worked still, but
it's just
it just seems like you tried something different and it didn't work. Yeah. So now, let's just go back.
Tail between the legs and go back to the old.
Yes.
And again, they should have done that right from the start.
And they should have just not even bothered with it.
It was a bad few years for Rolling Stone. So the way we would do this then is we broke down the 3 types of logo, right? New logo changes for customers. Yeah. And this eased customers, eased their apprehensions, okay? Yeah. So now I want to finish this off by talking about how we pitched this to our existing customers. Now, I do believe that this could genuinely work with, customers you've never encountered before. You may have to tweak it a little bit. Yeah. I know I did, but some of the empathy might not be the same if it's a brand new customer. I would go about it differently. I'd go in and be like, I've got some things I want to talk to you about or this ideas, whatever. But again, this is how we pitched our existing customers that they came to us maybe for a website design, or maybe they came to us for some brochure work or for some, like a campaign. Yeah. And then once we were in there, we would realize that the problem wasn't necessarily the current material. It was the underlying brand. Okay. So we would follow this process all the time. And I feel bad because it's not like it tried and tested, formula, so it's fake. Yeah. Because this is genuine the way it was. Because I always tell everybody the same thing, right? You have to be authentic. Yeah. And you have to actually give a fuck. Yes. You have to give a fuck.
You have to care. You can't just look at the dollar signs behind them. You stare at the guy's wallet.
Exactly, right? Because again, if you are authentic and you actually care, you will go the distance.
Yes, you will.
Okay. So again, number one, you have to fucking care. Okay. So if you don't, then stop here and the rest of this isn't going to work for you. Okay. But the process I would go through, with customers, is number one, I'd always lead with concerns. Yeah. I'd be like, look, you know what? I've got some concerns about your brand. Right. We're working on your brochure. We're working on your website, blah, 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 blah. And you have to let them know that you're scoping their competitors, right? You're seeing what's happening out there and, you're genuinely looking out for them. And although, you're working on their materials, you're realizing the materials, there's a bigger underlying problem, right? That we probably should address at some point. I wouldn't be like, we had to do this now.
Yeah, we got to fix this. Otherwise, this whole thing is fucking, forget it, man.
I would always, though, lead with concern, genuine concern. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. And then number 2, I'd address the why. Okay. I'd be like, look, right, this is your brand. This is why I feel, that your brand, is due for an update. It's necessary. I would use, research. I would tell them about their competitors. I would possibly even, show them examples of their competitors, right? Pull out data of, like anything I could grab my hands on. I would take their logo and sometimes I'd flip it to black and white and then it would disappear because the contrast, right? I would literally show them.
Break it down.
Exactly, right? I would just, because again, I'm concerned. Yeah. And this is my concern. So then I would address the why I'm concerned. Right. Okay. Cool. Then, I suggest degrees of change. Yeah. This is where we kind of go into the 3 degrees. This is where it's like, okay, look, I'm not saying anything, but I just want to talk to you about, this isn't a huge commitment. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment, but let's talk through the different types of changes your logo can undergo, right? Yeah. This is where we talk about, is it a refresh? Is it, again, I'm not pushing anything on at this point. I'm just educating them, right? Just to kind of make them feel comfortable and make them realize everything that we talked about before and everything we mentioned earlier in the podcast, right? Yes. Then once we suggested the different types of degrees of change, or we talked about the degrees of change, then we'd highlight the benefits of going down this road.
Right.
Okay. This is where we make sure the client understands the benefits of updating their brand, how it's going to resonate better online, how it's going to translate better, on their material, translate better for their marketing materials, why their customers would do this. And if possible, okay, I would bring in examples of how it's helped other customers of ours. Because we have examples, okay? When we would overhaul websites, we'd overhaul brands.
Right.
How, not only does it help, customers with the brand and make customers go, wow, that's great, but even rallies their own internal employees around the brand, the update. They're like, wow, we needed that. This feels more like who we are, right? Huge change, agent, right?
And that's that C-level change down right at the ground level with everybody involved. Once they get that, there's a clear path.
Exactly,
okay,
dude.
Here's what marketing is doing now. We're leaning into this kind of thing. Yeah. That is a huge lift for everybody. That
Absolutely.
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
And then last, I always finished back off with my concerns. I always end where I started, right? I'd explain the concerns.
The concern sandwich.
The concern sandwich, okay? I would literally leave them with the concerns.
Yeah.
Okay? I'd be like, why I'm concerned for them, why I'm concerned for the business, what I'm scared, because again, now this is the caring part.
Yeah.
Why I'm scared that if they don't, consider this moving forward, what it could be, right? What it could mean to them, what could happen if their competitors get a head up on them, right? That it's always better to, to lead instead of follow, so you don't look like you're chasing, after what your competitors are doing, right? That, in this situation, if their logo checks some of the other boxes, time is of the essence.
Yep.
Okay. What I never did, okay, I never showed up with new logo concepts. Okay. No, because then I made the decision for them and they might not like that.
Oh, yeah,
and, And even if they were like, well, let's talk about what is this going to cost me, right? I wouldn't have cost ready.
I don't know.
Because you know what? Exactly.
We're not at that stage yet.
We're not. I just came here because I wanted to let you know.
These are my concerns.
I got some concerns about your brand, your company, and I'm working on some stuff, but I think there's bigger issues we need to address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, that's brilliant.
And if you are comfortable with this, I will go back. I will come up with, just some timelines, some cost estimates, right?
Yeah.
To make sure you're comfortable. And then we can discuss which one of these evolutions is best for you. Ultimately, though, I always wanted to leave them thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. I wanted to leave them. So then afterwards, they're like, holy shit, they just literally brought this up.
Yeah.
Didn't try to sell me anything.
He didn't have a whole bunch of logos there ready to spring on me or anything like that. Or here's the package. You slide across the table. This is what's going to cost you.
I want them to go home and be like, talk to their spouse and be like, hey, you know what? Do you think our logo looks good on the website? And if a real spouse would be honest, and they're just like, hell no, it looks like ass. But you never ask me, so I never give you my opinion, right? That's usually the way it goes. But the idea is to have it percolate.
That's right.
Okay.
To think, get them thinking about this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And again, even if then you follow up in a couple days, a week or whatever, right? But even if they don't bite then, they will bite soon.
Right.
Because if you've already addressed the reasons why their logo needs updating, it's hard for anybody else to question that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, you started that conversation, but you didn't seem devious. You are genuine.
You were genuine. And then I was just going to say, this is how this plays out. It's like the only way you're going to get away with this kind of thing is if you don't have your eyes on that wallet. You know what I mean? Like and this is what it is. This is what we do. We see these clients. We have a process for them. We know
absolutely.
We know we have their best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This is what we want to do.
I don't want them to waste money. I
That's
genuinely
That's
don't.
exactly. You want them to be successful.
I have had so many times customers be like, I need a new website. I need a new website. Yeah. And when you're in, why do you need a new website? Ours isn't working.
Yeah.
And then after you start building it, you're like, holy shit, it's nothing to do with the website. Your brand is a mess.
Yes, it's terrible. You need to fix this.
This guy's saying this, that guy's saying that. Like, it doesn't translate.
Yes. Let's get a story going. Let's get a cohesive kind of unit. Yeah.
Works on websites, on brochures and stuff. So again, if you and again, if we have our eye on the wallet, you're right. This will never work because then it's like you're a shyster.
Yeah. Okay? Exactly. And we know that type. We've worked with that other agency.
And they're just like,
where they're just like,
how can sniff a dollar?
How can I bill these guys? You know what I mean? Like, so no, we don't operate like that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is always genuinely a concern.
Yes.
And again, if you're bringing it to their attention, it's because you've already gone through this list.
Yeah.
You've already realized something's wrong with the current brand.
Right.
And it needs updating.
Right.
Plain and simple.
How many times, if you can recall, does the client actually know this and is just needed to hear it?
Oh God,
Does this happen a lot?
It does happen.
Okay, I
a
was
lot
just
of
gonna
times
say-
they have it. They're not sure they're ready for it.
Yeah, it's
But
just
once
like-
you start addressing, you start bringing concerns to their attention.
Yeah, they're like, I know this.
They start feeling like, holy shit, we really need this.
Okay.
We had somebody else, like one of our customers, QA, one
Yeah.
of our favorite ones.
Yeah.
And it's like we were building this slick new website. They wanted the new website. They loved the website and they loved where we were taking it. But there was a problem. Their brand, we made the website look so cool. So cool.
So cool.
The
brand was
the
behind.
brand was looking horrible. And so one day, right, in that situation, I was like, look, guys,
Yeah.
I have some concerns.
Yeah.
I broke the rules because I then showed them I accidentally dropped the logo in the corner of their website.
Oh, no.
In one of the pages. And just to see if they noticed, they all noticed.
Oh, they
And
did?
all it was a refresh. It was the exact same logo, cleaner font, cleaner mark, and it matched everything else, and it brought them up to times, and they were just like,
Hey.
it's perfect.
Yes, that works.
Just that change, but they weren't ready for it prior to that, right? They had to go through the process. So in that case, it was, and again, it was great because then afterwards they all rallied behind it. That launch of that website and the company was so successful. It's like
Yeah.
they said it was their best year ever.
They sent you a skateboard, dude.
Yeah, I know. They sent me a skateboard with the new logo
With the
on
logo
it.
on it. It's like,
Fucking
how
cool.
awesome is that?
I know, I'm pretty happy about that one. That's cool. So, I mean, again, I think that everybody always waits for the wrong logo opportunity.
Right.
So what I'm saying here is don't look for new logo opportunities. Look for the refreshes, the evolutions. Don't go tell your customer they need a new logo.
Yeah.
Tell them their logo needs to be refreshed. It needs to be evolved into where the company is.
Yeah.
I hesitate with the redesign. It can happen, but again, you'll know if it happens just based on the information from this.
Yeah.
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 And
Wow.
honestly, much easier to
Way
sell.
easier,
And it has
yeah.
worked for us time and time and time again. I think that we've probably done more of these than we have brand new.
And
clean
I
logo
think that's
companies.
because that is the easiest route. Not the easiest route, but the more logical route.
It is,
a
right?
client,
It works. You're in there. You've got a
'Cause-
relationship.
Yep. 'Cause
Absolutely.
exactly like you said at the beginning, like you tell a client, we're going to redo everything. And they just fucking, the color goes out of their face. They're like, oh God.
I know,
How
right?
expensive.
How much is it gonna cost me?
Yeah. How long is this going to take? How much manpower? like,
That's so true.
yeah, they're frightened by that. Whereas like with the Q, you put that logo in there, you kind of switch it up a little bit, and they're like, "Hey, I noticed that. This is good. Let's go on with this kind of thing." Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, I hope you guys got some
Ooh.
stuff out of this one.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this has helped us out. I hope it can help you guys out.
Yeah.
By all means, reach out. Let us know if you have any questions. Let us know how this works, how it doesn't work for you. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, again, learning something new that's worked from somebody else is a little better than just kind of guessing at this point. I mean, if I had people giving me recommendations when I started, we'd be a very different company right now. So, that's one of our purposes is to
Yeah.
share the knowledge that we've gone through so that
That's
you guys
right.
don't have to go through the same shit that we did.
And you don't have to do it like we did, but at least you know how to do it. Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. You've got something to go by.
Yes.
Change it, do as you wish,
That's-
put your own spin on it. But
that's
again,
right.
this is what worked for us, and this is why.
Exactly. This is brilliant.
All right.
Really good.
Well, guys, by all means, hit us up on our Instagram. We're there. We're active. This is our community. This is people all the time are reaching out to us. They're messaging us. Everybody who follows us, we check out your profiles. We generally jump in if we can and say hi. Sometimes it takes a little longer to get back to everybody, but we genuinely try to get back to everybody. If we don't, forgive us. Honestly, I mean, it's kind of hard. And, we're also pretty active on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is growing. Our podcasts are now video podcasts as well.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit more visual if anybody wants to get, number one, to see how handsome we are.
Maybe one day we'll be shirtless doing this.
With a little bow tie, but they could never see it underneath our beards. I think there's a bow tie
I
underneath
am
that
wearing a
beard.
bow tie right now, actually.
Oh my god! But we've also got a lot of crazy YouTube stuff coming out
Yes.
and currently having. So we're having fun with this.
Yeah, totally. This is awesome.
And most importantly, share us with the people you hate. Okay, let
I
us
love
torture
that.
them for you.
Yeah, that's right. You don't like somebody, send them
Send them to us.
Yeah.
Horrible gift. Horrible gift. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed this.
Yes.
My name's Massimo.
And my name's Sean.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.